There's a part in the story here which I really like. I was in Chicago and I was getting on the red line. I was coming from like DePaul University, and I forget, like I was like past DePaul, I was getting on at like North Avenue somewhere, right? Sitting on the train, and the subway in Chicago, it's just a feel. It's a feel of energy, that humidity, the smell. It just always inspired me, and I always felt the same way when I was on the subway or the L in Chicago, and then the subway in New York. It's like things are happening, things are moving along. People, ideas, they're moving along. And I remember reading Norman Vincent Peale's The Art of Positive Thinking. Okay. And this older gentleman came up to me, and I was just standing around, and he worked for the CTA. And I remember him, like, he tapped me on the shoulder, and I remember his face. I remember the wrinkles like around his eyes. I remember, what his eyes looked like. To this day, I still remember. And he basically said this with a calm voice. He was like, when you get on a train, know the final destination. And then he gave me the, okay. And I felt at that moment, it was like an epiphany. It was an epiphany-laced message, really a gift from God by a guardian angel, right? Because it was so profound. And I could have translated that a lot of ways. I could translate it, literally in the big city environment, right? The red line goes to some places. But I think it was more than that. Like, I felt like he was like, when you get on a train, know the final destination. I picked a path in life where I started my career. I knew that I was getting on a train. I didn't select the train. I didn't select the train because I couldn't. I squandered my past. I didn't have a lot of experience. I knew that I had to get on the grocery retail, food broker, manufacturer, distributor train. Like, I was getting on that train, and I made the best of it. Like, I looked at the people around. I'm like, oh, these are all great people. Cool. I'm on the train. The final destination, unknown, right? So when that gentleman shared that story, or that little quote, and he gave me the look, and again, like, his look was a genuine look. It was a genuine look. And when he said, when you get on a train, know the final destination, and it still sticks with me to this day, because there's a lot of sectors out there. There's a lot of things you could spend your time with. There's going to come a point of discovery that you're going to have to go down. What are you wired for? Why are you here? Why did your parents create you? What's in your DNA? What makes you unique to the world? And I truly believe, just like a fingerprint, that every human has something to offer this world. Now, the path of discovery is going to make people look internally, sit in silence, like we talked about before, and find out what it's supposed to be. I'll give you an example. We all like money. People like money. Oh, I want to get into real estate because there's a lot of money in there. There's a lot of money in there. But then do you really want to show up and start collecting rents? Or do you want to have a property management company? Or do you want to, like, have a maintenance company tied to the property management company, tied to the real estate company? Maybe you do, but maybe you don't. There's people out there that they go into things for money, which it's a young person's game. I get it. That's cool. When you're coming out of college, you're like, okay, what major is going to make me the most money? What job is going to get me the boat, the car, the summer house fastest? What is it going to be? But then eventually what happens is you care more about how you're contributing, right? So having money's awesome, but what are you going to do to fulfill your purpose? Like, all that unique stuff, right? So understanding we have to get on trains and we don't know the final destination, but there's going to come a time, and maybe that time is right now, the next train you or I get on, we are going to have an idea of that final destination. And that is going to make or break our ambition. That is going to make or break how motivated we are to wake up in the morning and grind and put your trade to work, put all your skills, your life apprentice on the line, and start making something happen. So when you get on a train, know the final destination.